The Dog Lady on the Beach, number 105. Welcome back. Today, we'll be looking at the Gospels of Matthew and Mark to see how Jesus responded to persistent faith and how he modeled rhythms of rest. So let's get started. Matthew 15 verses 21 to 28, Mark 7 verses 24 to 30. Leaving that place, Jesus withdrew to the district of Tyre and Sidon. Not wanting anyone to know he was there, he entered a house, but was unable to escape their notice. Instead, a Canaanite woman from that region whose little daughter had an unclean spirit soon heard about Jesus, and she came and fell at his feet. Now she was a Greek woman of Syrophoenician origin, and she kept asking Jesus to drive the demon out of her daughter, saying, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter is miserably possessed by a demon." But Jesus did not answer a word. So his disciples came and urged him, "Send her away, for she keeps crying out after us." He answered, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." The woman came and knelt before him. "Lord, help me," she said. But Jesus replied, "First let the children have their fill. It is not right to take the children's bread and toss it to the dogs." "Yes, Lord," she said, "even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs that fall from their master's table." "O woman," Jesus answered, "your faith is great. Because of this answer you may go, and let it be done for you as you desire." And she went home and found her child lying on the bed, and the demon was gone, and she was healed from that very hour. My thoughts. I want to draw your attention to two insights from this passage. One is most commonly written about, and the other a little bit more obscure, but just as important. The first is the woman whose daughter was tormented by a demon. She was a Gentile and outside of the scope of Jesus' targeted ministry. She was a pest, and the disciples were begging Jesus to get rid of her. After all, they were on vacation enjoying the beach. More on that in my second insight. Jesus finally addresses the woman with what could have only been received as an insult. First, let the children have their fill. It is not right to take the children's bread and toss it to the dogs. Did Jesus just call this lady a dog? That's how I would have taken it. But notice her humility and faith. She doesn't get mad and storm off. She doesn't call the cops for what could have been perceived as a racial slur, aka hate speech. No, she humbly bows before the King of Kings and wisely presents her petition in a way that Jesus cannot ignore. "Yes, Lord," she said, "even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs that fall from their master's table." Now, there are a few things that really get Jesus excited, and one of them is extraordinary faith. Remember the centurion who had more faith than anyone in Israel? Matthew 8 verses 5 to 13. Yes, although this woman was not part of the focus group, and even a bother, Jesus was compelled to honor her request. Now it says a lot about how much joy God gets when we really trust him and place our faith in him. By the way, when you compare the two, I'd rather be called a dog than a sheep. Just saying. On to the second insight. Notice where Jesus was, Tyre and Sidon. And notice why he was there, not wanting anyone to know he was there. Wait, what? Is Jesus taking a break? You better believe he was. And the district Tyre and Sidon is a coastal region on the Mediterranean. Could Jesus have been spending time on the beach? Why not? I can just hear the disciples gasp when they see the vastness of the Med compared to their Sea of Galilee. Here's my question. Why would it be so incredibly hard to believe that Jesus and his men were taking a vacation? I mean, think about the pace they were keeping. Even when Jesus suggested that they come away by themselves to a secluded place and rest a while. 5,000 people showed up to dinner. They were keeping a hectic schedule, frequently going without meals themselves. Mark 6 verse 31. As often as Jesus was wrongfully chastised for violating the law of rest, you've got to believe the Lord of the Sabbath would show us how to take a break. He actually goes on retreat at least 2 more times to be alone with his disciples. Mark 8 verse 27, John 11 verse 54. My story. We built a 10 by 10 cabin on the backside of our property for the purpose of having a place to get away and spend time with God in solitude. We had some folks visit our place, and we gave them the grand tour of our property and the quiet time cabin. Later we found out that the cabin was jokingly renamed the shack of shame. It was supposed to be a joke, but you know what they say? A joke is just a veiled way to say what you're really thinking. You have to ask the question, why would our friends be adverse to a place of rest and contemplation? Well, one, these were paratroopers and special forces folks, and they rest when they die. And secondly, hardcore disciple makers are not known for taking rest seriously. And then again, neither were the children of Israel. But as I look at Jesus taking a nap during a storm, the omnipotent Father resting on the seventh day of creation, and the penalty for breaking the Sabbath in the Old Testament, look it up, it's the same as witchcraft, sorcery, and adultery. I'm pretty convinced that God is serious about rest. It's only for our own good, and we do well to take 5 on a regular basis. Our action plan. Now it's time for some applications. Here's some ideas. As a disciple maker, are you looking for people with extraordinary faith, even if it's outside your ministry target? Talk to those you are discipling and come up with a profile of someone with extraordinary faith. Do a personal inventory. Do you have an adequate rest rhythm? In reflecting on Jesus' encounter with the Canaanite woman and his retreat to Tyre and Sidon, we see the importance of persistent faith and the value of rest in our lives. By embracing these lessons, we can deepen our trust in God and cultivate a healthier balance between ministry and rest, just as Jesus modeled for us.